All right, Chapter 14, Safety Equipment and Rescue. United States Occupational Safety Health Administration Safety Rules, OSHA Regulations, Standard 29 CFR of 1910, 269 Electrical Power Generation, Transmission, Distribution, Subpart R of the Special Industries, covers the operation, maintenance of electrical power generation, controls, transmission, distribution, line, and equipment. National Electrical Safety Code, per standard with the abstract with the standard code for the basic for the provision for the safeguarding of the person from the hazard of residence, the installation, operation, maintenance of, conducted with the equipment. The electrical supply station, overhead, underground electrical supply communication line, if it includes the work rules of the construction maintenance, the operation, electrical supply communication line equipment. National Electric Code, the standard prep for the safety of the person, property, for the hazard, for the arising, for the use of the electricity. National Electric Code, for the typically with electrical equipment, system to connect with the load side of the electric utilities, electrical meter for electrical utilities applicable is very well. Defined in Article 90 with the scope of the 92 for the electrical overhead of the underground equipment, control of the exclusive of the public utility generation, transmission, distribution, electricity, the first rule of regulation for the NESC. However, the utility customers often expect to meet to their condition in the National Electrician Code. The energized work. Safety way to complete the electrical distribution work of the energized with the isolate test of the ground with the facility work done with the lineman must be correctly identified with the circle of the ground and obtained with the property authority assurance of the circle to be as energized and isolated. Hold off tags must be applied with the switches isolating switch of the hair from must be identified with the name of the person charged with the work for the high voltage test of mounted on the hotline time. Tools can be used to verify with the circuit is de-energized with the ground conductor is first connected to the low resistance ground, usually normal neutral conductor, and then de-energized with the phase of the conductor by the line with the hotline tool. Once the work is completed, all the personnel are clear, but the circuit, the grounds are removed in the reverse sequence. Hotline work. The public depends on the continuous electrical service to maintain their health and welfare and safety open. Often makes it impossible to de-energize circuit to complete the modification, perform the maintenance, proper application. The protective equipment necessary for the lineman is safely over the work able to prevent electrical fire with flash burn injuries. Arc flash safety assessment, but there need to be an arc exposure of the greater than 2 cals or centimeter. As defined with the address of the TO7 and NESC, but the eliminating flash arc flash has the desirable some arc flash hazards may exist. Hazards are to be understood with the proper safety management of the programs in that everyone but the standing hotline work is performed while men are standing in the isolated platform. They are airlift devices. The low primary voltage may be to work directly with the pole by the lineman. High primary voltages must be worked from insulated platform attached to the pole of the insulated aerial device of the work area that covers the cover conductor, cover the insulated, cover the crossarm, cover the rubber blankets, deaden, cover the energizer, energized conductor, have an elevated supported clear with the crossarm with the hotline tools. Protective equipment line and cable man must be the protective equipment from the safety of the complete work with the energized equipment, the correct application of the protective equipment described as essential for the injury prevention, for the maintenance of the reliable electrical service of the lineman, wherever the hard hat is designed for the electrical work, safety glove with the body belt, for the safety strap with the rubber glove, to protect with the rubber sleeves. Rubber glove is the most important article for the protection for the lineman, with the cable of the man is good hair for the rubber glove with the proper electrical strength of the voltage of the circuit will be worked on the leather protective gloves must also be worn over the rubber glove to prevent physical damage of the rubber to the rubber while the working is being performed. While the rubber gloves are not used, they should be stored in canvas bags that protect them from the mechanical damage deterioration for the ozone generated by the sun. Rubber gloves should also be given an air test by the lineman capable of each of the day before the work is over, or if the work is interconfined with the object that has been damaged to the rubber glove. The American National Standard Institute rubber insulating glove to flange lineman's rubber glove specification proof test voltage of the rubber glove should not be constructed. Construed means the safe voltage for the glove can be used. Maximum voltage for the glove can safely be used depending on the mainly factor including the care exercise within their use. The care followed by the handling storage of the inspection of the glove in the field. The routine established with the periodic laboratory inspection of the test of the quality, the thicker of the rubber, the design of the glove, the such of the other factors are even the age, usage, weather condition, classic with the rubber glove, the manufacturer proof test, and close with the class of the glove, the AC proof test of the voltage root mean squared, DC proof test of the root voltage average maximum use of the voltage AC root mean squared. And so much of the glove, the personal protection of the shear for the personal injury that may result in the fail of the volume, the adequate factor for their safety should be provided between the maximum voltage within which they are permitted, the voltage at which they are tested. It is common practice with the rubber protective equipment to prepare with complete instruction and regulation that governs the detailed corrective safety of such equipment. They should include the provision of proof fighting leather protective glove with the rubber protect the rubber glove against mechanical injury to prevent the ozone cutting. Linemen's wear rubber glove with leather protective with rubber insulating sleeve. The rubber insulating glove should be thoroughly cleaned and inspected for the testing component with the personally regular. Procedure for the cleaning and testing rubber gloves as is followed. The rubber label should be glove with the glove number with the test with the date with the cemented teacher for the rubber glove. The rubber glove with the washing machine with the determined to remove all dirt from the prior testing. The rubber glove with the inflated, utilizing the glove with the inflator of the equipment to check with the air leak for the inspection includes checking The strip of the rubber glove with the defect with the such with the cup of the scratches, blusters, the embedded with the form material, the cut off the air within the inside of the glove, the visual inspected. After the glove is removed from the infiltrator, the inflator, the whole rubber gloves have been served with the defect with the rejected and repaired. After the inflated inspection, rubber gloves are stored with a 24-hour period with the rubber to relax the minimum of the possible cornea damage while the electrical test is completed. The rubber gloves are supported with the testing tank of the means of the plastic clothespin to the supporting rack. Ground electrode is placed inside each of the glove. The rubber glove is to be tested with the testing tank that is filled with water with the height of the water in the glove. The testing tank that depends on the bond voltage. Apply class 0 glove test at 5,000 volts AC with a 20,000 volt DC. Flash over the clearance of the top of the edge of the cutoff of the glove during the test must be 1 1/2 inches above the both AC and DC test. Class 1 glove the tested at 10,000 volts AC, 40,000 volt DC. The flash over the clearance of the top of the edge of the cutoff of the glove during the test must be 1 1/2 inches from the AC test and 2 inches for the DC test. Class 2 glove are tested at 20,000 volts AC, 50,000 volt DC. The flash over the clearance of the top of the edge of the cutoff of the glove during the test for the 2 1/2 inches for the AC test, 3 inches from the DC test. Class 3 glove that tested 30,000 volts AC, 60,000 volt DC. The flash over the clearance of the top edge of the cutoff of the glove during the test must be 3 1/2 inches for the AC test, 4 inches for the DC test. Class 4 gloves are tested between 40,000 volts AC and 70,000 volt DC. With the flash over the clearance of the top edge of the cutoff of the glove during the test must be 5 inches for the AC test and 6 inches for the DC test. Alright, your sphere gap setting for the test voltage is to be applied with the table 14 to the rear of the gap. The testing switch chamber with the variation temperature for the humidity. Connect with the high voltage lever. The testing transformer with the metal tank with the portion with the rubber glove to be tested. Connect with the ground electrode within each of the rubber glove that is associated with the ground lead. Evacuate all personnel within the enclosed testing area for the close of the power supplying isolating switch for the testing equipment. 12 the means the remote control ground raise lead with the voltage output. The testing transformer with the 0 of the power level of the rate, approximately 1,000 volts. A second of the voltage should be applied with the rubber glove for a period of 3 minutes. After the high voltage has been applied with the rubber glove for 3 minutes, switch with the milliamp meter of the read the leakage current each of the ground electrode applied with each of the rubber glove. The output voltage of the test transformer is gradually reduced with the 0 of the rate approximately 1,000 volts. A second all rubber glove with the failed during the test of the head currently leakage greater than the maximal permissible value rejected the table 14.3 with some of the inches of the glove may be repaired with usually successful the retest. 14.2 serve with the spear gap the test of AC volts in the spear with the aptitude setting millimeters. Maximum leakage current with the 5 classes level of the glove with the 0 class under 4. Tested voltage 5,000, 10,000, 20,000, 30,000, 4,000. Minimum leakage current and milliamps 10.5, 14 inch, 16 inch, 18 inch. All rubber gloves with the pass the high voltage check with the driving of the drying rack and power of the tags and indicate the leakage current with the recorder on each glove is placed in each glove of the gloves are then returned to the lineman cable to use for you. If the surface of the insulation glove is specified, the ASI ASTM F49677 rubber sleeve shall be worn with a rubber glove to protect the arm and shoulder of the lineman and working with a high voltage distribution circuit with electrical contact with the arm and shoulder. The rubber insulation sleeve must be treated with care and inspected regularly by the lineman for the manner similar to describe the rubber insulation glove. The rubber insulation sleeve should be thoroughly cleaned and inspected to test and component and its personal regularity with inspection testing and procedures similar to describe the rubber insulating glove. For the insert with the care of the insulating glove sleeve specified in ASI ASTM F496. The rubber insulating line hose. Primary distribution conductors can be covered with the rubber insulating line hose to line man from the accidental electrical contact. Line hose are manufactured various lengths with an inside diameter measuring varying from 1 and 1.5 inches with a different test voltage with same values. The lineman should be sure the voltage rating with the line hose provided with an ample sample of the fact of the voltage applied with the conductor to be covered. All line hoses should be cleaned with inspected regularly with a hand crank wringer that can be used with the spread of the line and hope to clean inspection for the cut of the corner dam of the rubber insulating line hose should be tested with electrical withstand of the corners with specification schedule intervals. Insert with care insulation line hose with cover that's specified in ASI SCM 54078. Primary rubber insulation hood with the pin type of the hose type with the distribution primary insulator that can be covered by the hoods. Insulator hood properly installed will overlap the line hose with providing the line man with plate shielding with the energized conductors. The insulator hoods like other rubber insulating equipment must be treated with the care of the kept clean with inspected with regular intervals. Canvas bags are properly installed with attached for the hand line with the used with the raised floor protective equipment, and when it is being installed, then remove the conductor cover the fabric of the high electrical polyethanol clips, then on covers on the conductors up to 2 inches in diameter. Positive the air gap to maintain with the swing of the latch that can be loosened only by 1/4 turn with a clamp stick. Insulator covers are fabricated with a high dielectrical polyethanol design with the conjunction from the 2 conductor cover. The insulator cover the face for the insulator lock for the conductor cover on the other end and each end. Polyethanol rope the switch for the cross arm hooks with the clamp stick and prevent the insulator cover from being removed with the upward and bumping of the wind gusts. Cross arm cover the high electrical strip of the polyethanol cross arm cover the UV to prevent tie wear tie wires from contact with the cross arm of the conductor adjacent with the insulator being tied and untied. It is designed for the single double arm construction with the slab that provided with a double arm bolt. Flange above the slash over the end of the double arm bolts. Pole cover the polyethanol control for the poly cover the bowl cover that's designed to insulate the pole when the air with adjacent high voltage conductor. The pole cover is available with various lengths. Positive hole poly proper all rope handles are knotted through the holes and overlap area of the cover. The rubber insulating blankets. Odd shape of the conductor is equivalent to get usually covered in the back of the rubber insulating blanket. The rubber insulating blankets are stripped with the canvas roll of the metal over the canvas to protect with when they are not used. The blankets can be held in place with the ropes and large wooden clamps. Insert with the care of the insulating blankets are specified ASI ASM 5479. Alright, safety hats. Hard hats and safety hats and work linemen and cable the with the grounding protect the work against the impact with the falling of the moving objects against the external electrical contact head with the energized equipment as well with the protect the work with the sun, the cold, the rain, sleet, and snow. The first combined impact resisting electrical insulation hat was introduced in 1952. That was designed to roll with the punch, the distributing with the force of the blow over the entire hammer, the entire the head. The accomplished suspension band hat holding the hat in an inch away from the head. Lighting of the work is the shock absorber. The hat is made of fiberglass and plastic material. Has an insulation value of approximately 20,000 volts. Alright, new helmets are manufactured with the same with 30,000 volts without failure. With the actual voltage of the hat with the same while being worn depending upon the cleanliness of the hat, weather condition, the type of electrical contact, and other variables. Wearing the safety hats, alignment cable, the man generally with reduced electrical contact. Physical injuries have been particularly eliminated as a result of the work of the ground wearing protective helmets. Occupational Safety Health Act of the 1970 most company safety rules require alignment and cable the man ground wear safety hats while performing the physical work. Specifications of safety hats are found in the ASI standard Z89-2 with safety requirements with industrial protective helmets and worker class B resuscitation. The section will present with the step that should take the emergency, offering the review of the explanation if you learn with the professional aid given in the first aid CPR and pull top rescue class. If this is intended to play for the taste and taking with the OSHA required American Red Cross, American Heart Association, U.S. Bureau of Mines equivalent training with the verify the documentary evidence. The procedure of the section based the most current recommendation of the available time and the printing with no guarantee for the two and assume with no responsibility for the correctness, completeness, presenting the information recommendation. To be prepared with the emergency should be take a review of the course of the practice of the skill of the man and presence of the training instruct for the techniques are being updated. You need to learn with the current skill of the American Red Cross, the American Heart Association, U.S. Bureau of the Mines of the course of which may take prepare for any of the emergency. The best way to care of the emergency is prevent it is think safety. Have the reviews of the protective equipment, inspect rubber gloves daily, then have the electrical test as per industry recommendation. Be aware of what is going around you. Keep your mind and on what you're doing. Now, even any substances will appear ability to act to the react, avoid wear of the orange traffic vest when not directing traffic. Wear clothing of conductive flame resistant first aid equipment. The OSHA 1926-50 defined with the medical service. First aid should be available with the proper medical attention should be available to responsible access time 4 times is not available to the person available to first aid. CPR certificate must be on the work site with the first aid with the first aid kit supplied within the weight of the proof contained with the individual seal pack with each for the type of the item. The content should be checked with the employer being sent out on each for the job at least weekly thereafter the expensive items are replaced. First aid kits are for the use of the possession of the job when they are taken off the truck and authorized use for the emergency equipment with the missing supply with the mean with the difference between the incident and the small portion of the light and threatening incident. The employer is responsible for the first aid kit review, but they need to make sure that their present supplies are not on date with the solve to make sure the appropriate company personnel knows that the supplies need to be replaced. That there's responsibility your life that could be dependent on it. What to do in an emergency? Be prepared. Remain calm if the victim is on the pole of the bucket and shout out the victim to see if they are unconscious and can respond. If they cannot respond immediately, send someone into the call with the 911 and the local or 911 and your local emergency system. You can spend the common sense that you do not want to be. We do not want two victims and approach the victim until it's safe to do so. Assess your victim. Use protective barriers. Give rescue breathing CPR hand-like maneuver as needed. These skills will be reviewed in the next for you in the next pages. All right, effect of electrical shock of the human body. After the effect of the electrical shock of the human body is rather unpredictable. Many a number of the ways. Asphyxiation, electrical shock, making a sensation, sensation of the respiration, asphyxia, current passing of the body may temporarily paralyze the door, destroy the either nerve of the area of the brain for the control of respiration. Burns in the contact flash. Contact burns common result of electrical current passing through the body with the burns generally found with the points of the current enter and left of the body with varying severity. The same with the thermal balloon shear. If the burns was not immediately evident because the appearance of the maybe indicate the depth of which they have been treated. In some instant accidents, the flash of the electrical arc, the raised heat of which they may damage the eyes and result of the thermal burns to expose the parts of the body. Fibrillation. Electrical shock may disturb the natural rhythm of the heartbeat, which happens at the most hearts if they're thrown into twitching of the trembling state. Actually, individual muscle fibers no longer coordinate with the pulse, disappear with the circulation. It's easy. The condition is known as ventricular fibrillation. Is serious. And it's serious. Muscle spasm. Serious erratic movements of the limb and limb or limbs may occur with the alternating contraction, relaxation, muscle spasm, action, muscle respiration may be effective at the stopping of the breathing. Rescue. Because the person may be received electrical shock at many different locations on the ground of the building or the whole of the steel structure, and neither possible nor desirable to lay down the defined methods of the rescue. However, the certain factors should be remembered. All right, freeing the victim. Be careful the muscle spasm at the time of shock. The most victims are thrown clear of the contact with the over the someone usually low voltage. The victim is still having touching the live equipment. In either situation, the rescuer must extremely carefully not to give them the contact with the live equipment and touch the victim while he or she is still in contact with the rescuer. Should free the victim as soon as possible by artificial respiration. So the artificial respiration can be applied without having the may involve the open switch of the cutting of the wire of the equipment with the reach for the energized with the rubber glove, the other approve the insulation prior to move the victim out of the danger. If the victim is to be lowered from a pole, a tower, or other structure, the hand line with adequate strength with a tie and loops around him and place the rope with the cross-arm tower member. This is a satisfactory method. Artificial respiration method. The early method of artificial respiration involved any of the build-up of the fire, some of the beating of the victim with the whip, inverting the victim, suspending him by the feet, rolling the victim over the barrel. Modern methods of the artificial respiration include the Schaefer prone method, the chest pressure of the arm lift method, the back pressure arm lift method, the mouth-to-mouth method, and the mouth-to-mouth method is currently advocated by the Edison Electrical Institute. American Red Cross. The mouth-to-mouth method is accepted in most utility companies. Depicted in Figure 4.14.1 in the artificial respiration should be the breathing stop the result of electrical shock exposed to gases, drowning, physical injury. If the heart has up the function as a result of the cardiac arrest, ventricular fibrillation, heart-lung resuscitation should be used with mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. This shows the 2 quick breaths being applied with a non-breathing victim prior to lowering the ground. Alright, applying artificial respiration. To be successful, artificial respiration must be applied with shortest time possible to the victim of the non-breathing without oxygen for the brain begin to the first warming for the critical and inverse brain with the damage begin with the best chain of the survival of the victim. Receive the rescue CPR immediately, advanced medical care from the emergency medical technician. Normally the type of the rescue resuscitation with the victim is placed for the ground floor with the best for the victim can be additional with the treatment. This stop with the bleeding with the wrapping with the length of the key with the warning. Step with the rescue can be easily relieved without any interpretation of breathing rhythm cycle. However, the pole test resuscitation any of the adoption of it should be started with the air blow and practical delay of getting the victim in the prone position. Choosing the type of the rescue resuscitation to the use of the rescuer must continue the obvious injury suffered by the victim. Broken ribs examples might make it inadvisable to use a certain type of the resuscitation. Burns on the arms, faces may be included. Other types, however, no time should be lost in searching injuries. Artificial respiration should be started at once. The need for speed. Artificial respiration must be started once. The time must be important, but the single factor for the successful artificial respiration, human brain can exhibit it only for a few minutes, probably no more than 4 or 5 without oxygenated blood. Therefore, every second count with the greater with no delay, with the smaller chain for the successful recovery. There should be no delay with the loosening clothing. Warm victim, get them him down for the pole, moving him from the comfortable position and moving him to a more comfortable position. Have it immediately check the victim mouth should be made quick with a pass of the finger with protective barriers such as the rubber glove to remove the tobacco, chewing gum, etc. Do not remove the dentures unless they are loose. They help support the facial structure. Use protective barriers. Today's society we run a risk of have being exposed to the exposing victim to disease, HIV and AIDS, TB, hepatitis virus infection, some forms of pneumonia. Protective barriers where possible. Resuscitation mask vary in size, shape, of the feature. The most effective ones made with a transparent, pliable material that allows you to make tight seal with a person's face that have one-way valve, releasing the person to exhale the air and use the rubber gloves when available. Alright, assess your victim. You must act immediately. Send one to call 911. The local emergency system and immediately determine the use of the best method of rescuing the victim. Engine personnel is on one pole with the bucket with the make with the shirt of the air with the safe with the approach thing being to both top of the bucket rescue procedure. Shout the victim on the pole to see if he can respond. If conscious, he can respond to the air is safe. The reach of the victim. Determine the victim is breathing. If not breathing, give it a 2 rescue breaths before the lower hand to the ground. Use for protective barrier if the possible lower the victim to the ground. Open the airway. Determine the victim is breathing. Open the airway. Should be tilted with the head back with placing one hand with the victim's forehead. Keep the other hand with the place of the 2 fingers on the bony part of the lower jaw near the chin. Tilt the head back to lift the jaw with the void clothing the victim's mouth. Avoid pushing off the jaw parts of it under the chin to the head. To the head, the tilt and chin left. Remove the tongue of the from the back of the throat. Many times the victim will begin with breathing his or her own once it is done. If not breathing, give the two rescue breath. Rescue breath is one breath, give it slowly, approximately 1/2 to 2 seconds. If you find the air will not enter from the chest, if not failing, you should reposition the head and attempt to give the breathing breath, giving a breath. Improper chin with the head of the position, most common cause of difficulty ventilation. If they after the reposition air will not go in, you may have a foreign object trapped in the airway. You should begin the airway obstruction maneuver, the Hamlet maneuver. The maintain with the head tilt chin. The rescuer should take the deep breath of the seal of the lips of the brow of the victim's mouth, creating with the airtight seal of the rescuer, gently branch with the nose clove of the thumbs and the index finger with the hand of the forehead, thereby preventing the air from escaping from the victim's nose. Get low with the victim's mouth 1/2 to 2 seconds. Look for the chest of the rise, release the noise the air can escape. Pause only long enough for you to take the breath and repeat the procedure for the second rescue breath. Check with the pulse. After you begin with the two rescue breaths, check with the pulse for the carotid artery. Feel the pulse for approximately 5 to 10 seconds. If the pulse is present, the victim is not breathing, begin rescuing breathing. If it is absent, begin CPR. Mouth to mouth rescue breathing. Journal American Medical Association recommended mouth to nose breathing would be with impossible ventilation through the victim's mouth. Mouth cannot be open. Mouth is seriously injured. Tight. The mouth-to-mouth seal is difficult to achieve. Keep the victim's head tilted back, one hand with the forehead, the other hand lift the victim's lower jaw. Leave the head and tilt chin lift to close the mouth. The rescuers take the deep breath and the breath of the victim over the rescuer, move the mouth, allows the air to escape. Alright, if the pulse is present, but the person is not breathing, give the begin rescue breathing. Give the victim one rescue breath about every 5 seconds. Do this for about 1 minute, 12 breaths. Recheck with the pulse and breathing about every time. You should continue the rescue breathing as long with the pulse of the presence of the victim breathing until one of the following happens. The victim begins to breathe without your help. The victim has no pulse. Begin CPR. Another trained rescuer takes over the review, and then you are trying to continue. Review. Recognize all that you have an emergency call for their immediate help. Accept your victim the unresponsive. Be sure to have the scene safe at the beginning. Whole top bus get rescue. Breathing. If not, give 2 breaths. Remember the protective the barrier is available to check the pulse. If the pulse is present, breathing is absent. Begin rescue breathing. Not one breath every 5 seconds. If there's no pulse, start CPR. Our airway obstruction conscious adult. If it is the victim, if he or she is choking, if it can help if the victim is helping forcefully, rescuer should not interfere with the victim or attempt to expel the foreign object, but stay in the person and urge him or continue coughing. If the victim is weak with an ineffective cough, make it with a high pitch of inhaling and able to speak and breathe the cough. This coach, this is that's the universal sign for choking. Should be treated with the airway obstruction, staying on the victim, leg between the victim and the help of the control victim if she passes out. Wrap your arms around the victim's waist. The first one, thumb side with the face placed against the victim's abdomen, just slightly above the navel of the wall, below the tip of the breastbone. First cap over the other hand, pass the victim with the abdomen, quick up throw. Each of the new thrush will be separated with distinct movement. And the inlet with the relieving the obstruction thrust should be repeated continuously until the object of the airway patient becomes unconscious. Alright, quick upward thrust being applied with the choking the victim. Alright, continuous adult choking who becomes unconscious. If the victim becomes unconscious over the floor to the ground with the rescue straddle the victim with the plate for the heel of the one hand slightly above the will below the tip of the best round and place directly on the top of the rescue press the abdomen quickly upward motion. Give up the 5 abdominal thrust. The victim should be open with the finger with the sweep down the after you give it the 5 abdominal thrust for the Hamlet maneuver to give the victim with the rescue breath. If the air does not go in, repeat the sequence with 5 abdominal thrust for the finger 12 times to dilate with the repeat as long as necessary. How to do it. The fingers sweep the thumb up with the mouth, the grasp both of the tongue with the lower jaw and between the thumb and the fingers of the hand with the lifted jaw, then insert the index finger with the other hand of the mouth, then inside the tip of the teeth of the throat with the base of the tongue. The hooking action with dislodge any object that might be there. Remove the object. Be careful not to put the object deeper in the airway. When doing the object is clear, the victim is conscious. The victim may want you to leave the air. Want to leave the area, go to the restroom, and do not let them leave them by themselves. The throat may be irritated as well. The airway may cause the stay of the victim until the EMS is arrived. If you're alone and choking, you form the Heimlich maneuver on your shoulder. If it's unsuccessful, the upper abdomen should be trapped quickly over the arms, serve the back of the chair, to the side of the table, the porch and railing. All the rest may be needfully the airway. What to do if the victim is pregnant or large? If you're not able to get your arms around the waist of the choking, comes consciously, you must give the thrust of the chest, or give the hand of the victim. The victim can be sitting and standing to place your arms around the victim's armpits and around the chest, place them thrust side on the first middle of the bone, short and right of the breastbone. Not on the ribs, make the first near is not near the tilt of the breastbone. As your first with your other hand back with the rest, get this the obstruction cleared until the person loses consciousness. Think that each of the thrust has separate have dislodged the object. Review as the victim is choking. The permission to help. Ask for permission to help if the victim is choking. Forcefully encourage him to continue to give the victim abdominal thrust until the object is expelled. The victim becomes unconscious. The victim becomes unconscious. Lower him and to the floor. Give it the five down thrust. Give it the rest of your breath if the air doesn't go in the rescue. That sequence of five thrust, fingers swept and alone. Give it a hammock maneuver. The abdominal to yourself over the front. Her lung resuscitation, cardiopulmonary resuscitation. You'll take the victim shuffle in the position, slide your finger to the bridge, get the restaurant plate, middle finger, and after the inch finger, floor into the restaurant, take the other hand behind the side of the two finger, play the hand line, locate the down for the half of the other hand, locate the fingers together, bring the fingers off the position, shoulder over, the hands, elbows, like the aim, straight hand, side, I think your injury, hand, brace for the line, allow the rescue, the release with the fingers together, and separate the able to alternative hand position, grab the wrist, position of the hand, with the grab the hand to be located in the sternum, another acceptable. Turn the top of the fingers up and off the chest. Use the method of the breath. Just remember to bring some off chest. Use the heel. Hand correct. Press for the breath. 1.5 inches. Give the 3 compressions count. 1, 2, 3, 4. Give the 2 reps after the 30th compression. The cycle of the 30 compression. The 2 after the consistent is consistent with the interval. Continue the insulation. The 5 to do full the compression. Check with the pole and the force. When you're down, weight of the upper body. Force is press the jack out of the point. Keep your shoulder directly over the hand with your elbows locked so that you use the weight of the upper maybe the breath of the push weight of the upper button, the press shaft, the push the weight of your body. Not with your arm muscles straight down. If the thrust is not straight, downward direction towards so ahead and see the roll. Pull the force part of the force is left chest compression may be less effective. Once you start with the deep power, continue until one of the following and the trained person takes over the DPR, EMS personal arrives, go victim area. You're unable to continue, the scene becomes unsafe. Alright, review. The call of advance the victim has found the correct hand position, do 40 to 30 compression, grab the reach, hold the place, second the pole is not present, CPR. Why do I do that, and why the change, why you CPR a minute, then go for the help, we use CPR for a minute, then go call for help. Who has been changed to call for help immediately, then being CPR. It's found that single rescue, often are much longer than one, thereby calling EMS, the ACLS, cares very seriously later than point from the risk of advanced life, save the medical support as soon as possible. Why do you use your head to shift and lift knees instead of all the way pushing the tilt and chin left method helps minimize the verge damage of the more open and sealing the airway. Why do we, as victims, appear the obvious that an allergic reaction also cover the airway to cover the to advanced medical support? All the normal thrust the world is not going to open the airway. What if the jaw, the mouth injured, but the mouth is shut and the two type of the mouth is too small? You should do the mouth and nose breathing. If the victim of the breathing is on unconsciousness, if it's vital and professional emergency personnel to believe the victim may breathe, may still go into shock counteract prevention and not being believed. There's a point where shock irreversible victim will die. Why have the time taken during the filling of the lungs of an adult increase 1/2 to 2 seconds per breath? Increase that to decrease the likelihood of the stomach filling the victim with the vomiting. 7. With the deal of the vomits for the stomach content that may get into the lung without obstruction, breathing which may hinder rescue breathing and attempts of being fatal. The residue of the lungs can also be complications after being restored. 9. Why do you no longer give hard breath but slow breath? By giving slow breath, you feel the lungs as are full. You meet the resistance of overinflating lungs can also air down in the stomach. Do we remove dentures? No, dentures should be removed only if they cannot be kept in place. Or only if they cannot be kept in place. If the victim is something in his or mouth like chewing gum and tobacco vomit. If the forming material of vomit is visible with the mouth, it should be removed quickly. Liquid should be wiped out of the index and middle finger. The fingers should be covered with the air of the mouth. material to be extracted from the hook. The index finger of the remember even the barriers on top of the respiratory with main thing called the respiratory arrest, shock, allergic reaction, drowning, or electrocution. Why is it imperative for the two respiratory breath be given them before you bring the victim down from the pole? Since all tissue swollen with the may develop rapidly close the airway, heart may stop being soon after breathing and stop. The heart will continue to beat on instances after breathing. Stop. Give the rescue breathing before breathing. Bring the victim down from the help. Like the heart stopping the brain damage from lack of oxygen. 13. Why do you stop? Why do you stop breathing after electrocution? Electrocuting upon the victim continue the heart. Maintain you have a right run, but no breathing might cause the electrical having passed through the brain, disrupting the area of the brain, control the brain. Victim being lowered from the pole. The diaphragmatic muscle control the breathing have been damaged. Respiratory muscle must have been paralyzed. The artificial respiration and started immediately. Help stop beating. 14. I know CPR. I'm good at my skills, but I was not able to. Like my victim did, I did something wrong. So for the skill of the left, will not be able to save the most skill of the head chance. Whereas you did not, the victim had no chance. The hand-to-hand path is more likely to be faithful than hand-to-foot than foot-to-foot. Electricity of the body cover the organs are and etc. Bones to explode, rupture, break, and as well the tissue destruction when the organs have ruptured the very little anything they have been able to do. But this is why it's important to use the safe work procedure for the equipment of accidents. How do I know I am giving adequate? You should be able to over the rise and fall the chest with each of the breath. You should be able to hear and feel the shape of the air during the past exhalation of the victim. 16. Call the victim of the vomit. They are not even breathing. During breathing, you may not have their way open properly. You're forcing them to have the stomach down. Along with the breathing, you give it in too long. With the too fast, too much pressure, the air is forced in the stomach. Isn't a problem if the stomach is full of air. The stomach is filled with air to reduce the volume of the elevating the diaphragm. Although by elevating the diaphragm, the victim must also have the stomach contents forced up by the air in the stomach. 18. What do I do if the victim starts vomiting? From the victim on one side, blow out his mouth or hear the protection barrier. The breast of the victim is here with the breathing of his own. If not breathing, continue the rescue. Proceed with the breathing. If the rescue breathing CPR, if you're alone, must leave the unconscious victim position of the victim on his or her side in case the victim vomits while you're gone. Alright, how can someone get oxygen out of the air we exhaled in? You've all the oxygen air we breathe approximately 21% oxygen. We have 5% of the oxygen, meaning the exhale air contains approximately 16% oxygen. Show that there's enough oxygen in the air to breathe out the support of the advanced medical air care arrives. Do chest compression. The circulating amount of blood as the heart does normally. Under the best condition, chest compression only circulate approximately 1/3 of the normal blood flow. Tissue that receiving only the barest minimum of oxygen required short-term survival. This is why it's important to professional help immediately. 21. Why does CPR stand for, and what does it do with the CPR? Stand for the cardiopulmonary resuscitation. Cardio refers to the heart and pulmonary refers to the lung. Cardiopulmonary resuscitation combination of chest compression respiration. The purpose of the cardiopulmonary resuscitation keep the lungs supplied with oxygen, breathing and stop keeping the blood circulating with the oxygen, brain, heart, and the other parts of the body. Do we ever slap an adult choking the victim in the back? No, you could lie to eat more skillfully. Why does the back of go into the CPR? To be on a level sort of head level above the heart. Brain for the required for one hands won't come off the victim's chest from the compression point of the given the CPR must have the rib cage found the correct hand again. Trying to the victim's chest needed to be bared with a performed compression. No clothing should be remaining unless in the infrared with the finding the proper location of the chest compression. Do not waste time and delay with starting the compression by removing clothing. Should you CPR with someone who has a pacemaker? Yes, the pacemaker is placed on the side of the carton directly below the breastbone. You will not only get in the way of the chest compression. It will not get in the way of the chest compression. Do I give it the CPR with a victim who has a very slow, weak pulse? No, never perform CPR with a victim who has a pulse. It can cause serious medical complications. 28. What if the victim regains pulse and resumes breathing during the following resuscitation? The rescue should continue to help maintain the open air with the rescue. The rescue should take the place of the patient recovery position, play with the victim in the recovered position. The victim is rolled on his or her side with the head is rolled toward the more simultaneously with the twisting. If the victim has the same trauma the suspect of the victim should not be moved. 29. How hard do I press doing the head left and chin left lever? The finger must be pressed deeply into the soft tissue under the chin, the foot into the arm for them on the bone. Pressing the stiff soft tissue might obstruct the airway. The thumb should not be lifting of the chin. 30. If they take several people without one of them take off the two belt and hooks, yes, holding shoes and belt hooks should be removed to prevent further thermal damage. Possible injured rescuer. Never remove a haired particle of the charged clothing from the body. It will pull skin off with it. If you're one of the rescuers, take time to remove the items unless they interfere with the ability to administer effective impressions. It's critical to get CPR immediately. Pull top of the truck for rescue. Time is critical. You may have to help the worker on a pole reach for the ground safely. When he or she becomes ill and lost consciousness, you must know when he needs help, when and why. Time is critical. The room that alone basic step. The pull top rescue is evaluate the situation, provide your protection, and climb through rescue the position, determine the injured condition. Then, if necessary, the first aid lower injury, give the follow-up care with help. The help evaluate the situation, call for the worker, call to the worker on pole. The worker does not answer period of the sun or day to prepare to give and go the worker's aid. Timely, extremely important. Provide your protection, your visual, your safety, visual rescue. Personal tool, rubber glove, the required check of the extra glove, rubber glove, live line tools, physical condition of the pole, damage conductors, equipment, fire on the pole, broken pole, hand line on the pole, get ignition, climb carefully with the rescue position to ensure that you're safe there for the injured person from hazard, determine the injured condition, render air of the aid is required, start mouth, if necessary, lower injured, if necessary, the best position will usually slightly above the injured person. Determine if he is injured, if the injured condition, he or she might be conscious, unconscious before, but breathing unconscious, not breathing harsh out of the injured, if they continue to conscious at the time that may not be longer. Critical to give them unnecessary first aid on pole, rescue her, the injured, help him or her to send pole, your first aid on the ground, call for help, and necessary. If the injured unconscious but breathing, watch him or her closely and capable of breathing, stop lower injured to the ground, care, first aid on the ground, call for help. If the injured unconscious but not breathing, provide an open airway, give him to rescue. If respond with the continued mouth, until he's breathing without help. If he does not respond with the first two, rescue breathing, check within the skin, cover the check with the pulp, pulp to contract, the color is good, the mouth until breathing without help, then help the victim to listen to the pole, watching closely his breathing, stop again, but give additional first aid as needed, call for help. If the pupil does not contract, the skin color is bad with the heart, it's stop, prepare with lower to him, immediately give the two rescue breath just before lower him to the ground, start with the heart, lung resuscitation, call for help. Method for lowering an injured worker, the safety, simple, available, the equipment, needs 1/2-inch hand line, primary position, hand line tie, the injured, remove the slack, hand line, take the firm grip on the full line, cut injured safety strap, lower the injured human rescue, position the hand line over the cross arm, lower the structure, position line on the clear path of the ground, leave that position 2 to 3 feet from the pole, shorten the line is wrapped around the fall and twice, 2 wrap around the fall line of the rescuer, the hand line around the victim's chest using 3.5-inch hitches, time the injured pass line around the injured chest at 3.5 hitches. Place the knot near one of the on the chest of the knot, remove the slack of the hand line, with one rescuer, remove the slack on the pole, with 2 rescue with the line of the ground, remove slack, important, give 2 quick breaths, if necessary, give the rip the fall line firmly with one rescuer, hold the fall line with one hand to the rescuer, with 2 rescuers, the lineman of the ground holds the fall line, can be injured, safety strap, cut the strap on the side opposite, the desired swing, and do not cut your own safety strap on the hand line, lowering the injured, with 1 rescuer guide with the load line with 1 hand, control the rate of the descent with the other hand, 2 rescue line with the pole guidelines, the line on the ground, control the rate of descent. If the conscious lineman is being assisted with climbing down, the only difference with it is that enough slack is fed into line, permitting climbing the frame. 1-man rescue versus 2-man rescue. Rescue differs are only control of the fall line. Remember, the approved method of lowering an injured line is the position of the hand line tied. The injured, remove the slack of the hand line, grip the fall line, firmly cut the injured safety strap, lower the injured lineman. Alright, if the pole does not have cross arm, rescue the place the hand line over the firm fiberglass bracket, insulator support the other substantial piece of the equipment, such as the secondary neutral bracket, the guide wire attachment, the strong enough to support the weight of the injured worker. Short end of the line wrapped around the fall line, toward the tie around the fall line, toward the around the victim's chest, leaving the 3.5 hitches. In safety trap, the rescue lower end injured line with the ground line must be removed. The victim is down with the ground. Leave the victim, then hit her back on the top of the victim. The conscious of the victim, the conscious time may be no longer critical. Give the necessity first aid call for the injured unconscious with not breathing. Provide an open airway. Give the 2 rescue breath if he or she continue with the mouth resuscitation. Until the injured lineman is breathing without the help that no pulse is present. The pulse does not contract. The skin color is not normal. The heart is to stop restore circulation with heart lung resuscitation. Bucket truck rescue time is critical. The quick portion for the insulated boom with the rope blocks. The hotline where the straps placed on the insulated boom approximately 10 feet. If the bucket with the support of the rope blocks, the blocks are held up with the boom. The straps at the top of the bucket. Boom. Rescue with the ground. Elevate the condition of the emergency. The bucket with the youth in the lower control of the obstacle is in the path of the bucket that must be avoided. The hook on the tip of the bow. Blocks engage the ring of the lineman. Safety strap relief the boom of the truck with the blocks are drum taut and from the rescue of the ground. Victim is raised out of the bucket with the rope blocks. The rescuer eases the victim out of the ground. Care should be taken with the protective of the injured victim for further injury. Release the rope blocks from the victim. The basket of the bucket area of the device must be covered until after being released. Tilt eliminates the need for the special ring of the room of the injured lineman from the basket to the bucket. The victim on the back, observe the victim in his conscious. If the victim is conscious, time light no longer crucial. Give the necessary first aid call for help. If injured, unconscious, does not breathe, provide any open airway. Give the victim the two rescue. The respond with continued mouth resuscitation until the victim is breathing without help. If no pulse, if the presence of the pulse do not contract with the skin color is not normal, the victim starts to stop. The restore circulation. Use the heart lung resuscitation. Mouth to mouth resuscitation equals external cardiac compression. Heart lung resuscitation every 30 compressions. Give it the ratio 32. Continue the heart lung resuscitation until the victim recover the reach the hospital. Doc takes over. Important. Continue the heart lung station on the way to the hospital. Do not allow any of the pressure cycling mechanical necessary to be used cardiac compression. And that was chapter 14, safety equipment and rescue. Chapter 15, OSHA.